Nelson study by Rabi Al-Qadri, first period. The aim was to demonstrate that children as young as 3 use motive and outcomes for judgment. The hypothesis was modes of presentation which shows both motive and outcome will allow the children to show their moral criteria. Procedure. There were 2 studies conducting this experiment. Experiment study number 1. There were 60 preschoolers and 30 second graders, and it was half male to female ratio, and it was mainly white middle-class children. Study number 1, procedure. There were 4 studies. In those 4 studies, there were the good motive, good outcome, good motive, bad outcome, bad motive, bad outcome, bad motive, good outcome. It was all the same story, which was the boy playing ball with his friend, and the motive always came first, which is one of the controls. Children were randomly assigned to one of the 3 story conditions, which were verbal with picture with the motive implied, verbal with picture with the motive said in thought bubbles. There were 20 children in each one of the groups. Children were told the story and informed about the smiley face scale, and were given 2 practice stories beforehand. Children then rated the stories on the smiley face scale. After that, they were told to tell the story again. Study number 2, procedure. There are 27 preschooler boys and girls, and the procedure was identical to the first study. Independent variable and dependent variable. The independent variable was the 3 modes of presentation of stories, and the dependent variable was the response by the subject and the data gathered. Results. Study number 1 showed the overall mean ratings of the main character in the good motive condition was a 5.37 and 2.27 in the bad motive condition. Other Q affected the judgment. When the motive was explicitly pictured, good and bad outcomes had a greater effect. 3-year-olds made more errors than 7-year-olds when recalling the story again. Study number 2. Good outcomes were rated more positive, with a 4.89, than bad outcomes with a 2.20. Good motives were also rated more positive, with a 4.89, than bad motives with a 2.20. Children made more errors recalling the good motive stories when outcomes were bad. Conclusion. Children understand the concept of good and bad, as well as the consequence for both. Study supports the nurture side of the nature versus nurture side. Children learn from their environment and surrounding what's good and what's bad, which helps support the nurture side.